Welcome to another episode of the S.E.M podcast. Jack and Zach are back again, and today we're joined by Chad Piersky. How you doing, Chad?
I'm doing excellent. How you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful, thank you.
We're great, thanks.
Where are you calling from?
Well, Tupelo, Mississippi. I'm used to saying Boonville. I moved here about 9 months ago or so I'm still used to saying Boonville.
Nice.
Great. And we start off with, how you ended up in Scotland, what the timing of that was, if there's any story surrounding your call. And then we'll skip over and catch up with what you've been up to since you've been home. And then we'll go back and reminisce a little bit. So if you want to start us out with how you ended up there.
I've been a member of the church my whole life. Never doubted serving a mission. It was always in the plan. I graduated at 17, nearly 18 years old. So I had back in the olden days when you had to be 19 to serve, we had about 13, 14 months to wait. So I worked and did all that, turned in my papers, and while I was waiting on my call, my dad asked me, "Hey, where do you think you're going to go?" And I've always thought I would go somewhere foreign, ending in land, like Iceland, England, Scotland, any of that. And so got my call, and it's kind of funny because every day I was telling the mailman, "Hey, I'm waiting on this envelope." So he actually, the day it came, he said, "I don't have it," and drove around the block and came back and gave it to me. Kind of messed it. He didn't know what it was. He wasn't a member of the church or anything, but it was. But then I had to wait on my grandmother to get there, and the missionaries in the Boonville ward at that point in time wanted to come over and open up my mission call. So it was, I had to wait about another 20, 30 minutes after I got it. And so, you read that and you're going to the Scotland Edinburgh Mission, and I just read right over the whole part of, you're going to be going to Preston, England, MTC. And my dad's like, hold up. What did that say?
Like a lot of us did.
So, it was always in the plan to serve a mission. And I don't think I could have been happier Scotland was the perfect place.
Great. Foreign land. And remind me, what was the month, year?
So I served from November 2021 to October of 2023.
Okay. Very good. All right. So I guess we'll skip ahead. October 2003. What you been up to since you got home?
Working, living life. I was married, got 3 kids. I'm no longer. But 3 kids. They actually live out in Austin, Texas. They're wonderful. I get out there to see them as often as I can. Moved around a little bit, job wise, and so on and so forth. But pretty much, I work. On the side, I own my own business. It's called the Official Beard Brand. It's a clothing and men's grooming products line. I've had it for about 4 years, and so it keeps me busy.
Yeah, you're representing, man. That's quite the beard.
I try to. It'd be kind of weird having a guy sell beard products that doesn't have a beard.
That's for sure. And I like your logo. How it's got the Celtic theme going on there too.
Very much so. There was a purpose in that.
Very cool.
It. If you look back at some of our early episodes, Chad, Jack had a beard fairly similar to yours, so definitely check out some of the first few episodes.
I've watched a few of them. I usually try to check out the ones with, people that served in or around with or around me, and people that I know, like Chris Martin,
Yeah.
Trey Jenkins, which y'all just had a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I've watched a few of them, so
That's great.
Good deal. I'm growing it back a little bit here. My 7-year-old said I needed to grow it back, so got to listen to kids sometimes.
my daughter told me the same thing when I shaved mine off about 8 years ago. So she's like, no, Daddy, no, please grow it back.
You're one of those videos on the internet where you shave it off when the kids aren't watching. You come in and they freak out because they don't know who you are.
Exactly. They wouldn't know they would not know who I was. Especially when I shaved it off when my daughter was littler. She had never saw me without one. So it was definitely a shock for her. She's like, no, Daddy, never again. And so I've had it shorter, but it's never been off.
Yeah.
That's
great. Awesome. What age are your kids?
They are 16, 15, and about to be 14.
Oh wow. Nice.
So I just turned 41 on Friday.
That's right. Happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a busy weekend, family, friends. So it was a good weekend.
That's good.
Great. Yeah. All right. Well, take us back to 2001. You can start with the MTC or into the mission, however you want to roll with it, but we'll just go through, areas, companions, and whatever you want to talk about.
Oh my goodness. There was, the MTC, I boarded a plane, left my family, flew from Memphis to Chicago, and I believe we flew from Chicago to Manchester and then Manchester into the MTC. The MTC was a huge growing experience for me. I don't think I was ever one of those missionaries that had to find their testimony in the mission field. I always, knew the church was true, but being around, growing up in Mississippi, there's not just loads and loads and loads of members of the church. So being consistently surrounded by members of the church was a new thing. Like in my high school, the first 3 years of high school, it was, either me and my brother or me and my sister that were the members of the church in our, 4A high school. Wow. So it's a different, from being out west to being here, it's completely different, scenario there, but loved it. My companion in the MTC was from South Africa. His name was Roland Spiegelhoff. And he was a cage fighter before he came on his mission. Not somebody I would mess with. I mean, he wasn't big, but he was stout. You go back, a lot of the people that came out with me, Dennis Granavicius, Chris Martin, Dustin Lance, Trey Jenkins, even some of the people in the MTC like Jordan Scow and other ones I remember and was definitely made an impact on my life. And then getting to Scotland, I was so ready to get there, so ready to get my mission started, and boom, you get there and nobody speaks English. and I guess you would have to move there. Being Southern, we speak slower. We have our own types of slang and different things, and really, learning. I think was one of the hardest things was learning to, especially, starting out my first area, which was Easter House, in the Springboard Ward in Glasgow. My trainer was Jacob Jones or Jake Jones from Nephi, Utah. Absolutely amazing. I don't know if y'all have had the opportunity to speak with him or not. Absolutely amazing missionary, an even better human being. He would laugh. We had a lot of things. Fudge donuts. Can't go wrong with the fudge donuts. To him telling me to go into the cheapie down the street and ask for a jobby on a stick.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So
Goodness.
So we had a lot of fun. We watched the area when we got there, and it was a learning experience. We and y'all can attest to this. Missionaries are not very well liked over there.
Yep.
By the church members, yes, but by everybody else, we're not. And just the realizing that, hey, we're not liked. We're the change of culture. It was definitely. I wouldn't say it was like a culture shock, but it was definitely like, hey, I'm gonna have to kind of toughen up, if you know what I mean, just a little bit. So it was, that first 3 months, and without Elder Jones, it would have been tough. So, then Elder Jones moved on. I stayed in my first area for 6 months. Elder Joshua Jameson, and I may miss some of them. I'm trying to know if I can remember them all.
It's only been 20 years.
So we had Elder Joshua Jameson. He was from Canada. Very, very tall fellow, about probably 6'4", 6'5". I spent the last 6 weeks of his mission with him. He left to go home, and trying to think who the next who. I don't know if it was Arthur Boutin or Holdsworth. Wow, it's been way too long to remember this. I need to bring out my companion book. But I spent 6 months in the Easter House area, then moved over to the Air area with had a Elder Jacob Carter. He was from, I'm going to say California, but he said he was from Nigeria. I guess he had kind of grown up in Nigeria, trying to remember the story. Interesting character. We had a lot of fun. We taught a lot. We just had a really good 6 months. Then he got moved on, and I became a trainer at 7.5 months. Trained Elder Jonathan Hanks from, I'm going to say, Azusa, California. And I was with him for, I'm going to say, for only, I may have been with him for 6 weeks or 3 months, and then I got moved to Hamilton. So
Hamilton.
basically the first year of my mission, I was in Glasgow.
Yeah.
I then, I think I spent 4.5 to 6 months in Hamilton, and then
Who'd you
I
serve
got
with in Hamilton? Pop quiz time.
I'm trying to remember who I served with, and that I remember people from Hamilton. I can't remember. It's just been too long. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'd have to bring it. I'd have to go get my book out. My T book. And served there, and then I went to the Shetland Islands for 6 months.
Well, you got out of Glasgow then.
Very much so.
Way out.
The Shetlands were tough, especially from October to March. It was cold. It was wet. Beautiful. Absolutely some of the most beautiful area I've ever been to, but it was cold and it was wet, and people just, very small ward, 25 to 30 people. We had the opportunity to teach here and there, but people up there, I always found it not really funny, but we talk about traveling across the United States and traveling across the world on our missions. And, I met so many people there who had never been off of the Shetland Islands.
Wow.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, there were people who had really never been out of Lerwick, which is, the main, really like the only, really can't even call it a city. I mean, it's what we would call like a town,
Yeah.
I guess. But I always found that strange. Let's see. In Shetland, I served with Elder Mueller. He was from Switzerland, spoke Swiss German. He was an older missionary. He had left a very good job, and I think it was Harry Mueller.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I also served with Elder Somerset. No, Elder Summer. Sorry, Elder Summer. He was South African, but English.
Huh.
I think it was either mom was South African or dad. One way or another. The 3 months I was with him, actually 4.5 months, I believe I was with him, was a very big growing experience for me, because I had to learn how to, get through disagreements. Really learn to agree. Well, I mean, not really agree, but just to compromise in certain situations. To love the guy to death. I haven't talked to him in 20 years, but I hope he's doing well. I mean, he was a great guy. Love him to death. I loved all my companions. That one, and I think it was more so being stuck on the island.
The winter, dark with the same person for.
Well, like in most areas, once a week you can go on team ups with your, and get away from each other for 6 or 7 hours, and then you're back together. But that little bit of a break always helps. Being up there, you don't get that. You're with the same companion 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's, there's really no
4.5 months. That's forever.
but that was great up there. I then came down and finished out my mission in the Peterhead area outside of Aberdeen.
All right.
Oh, Piersky.
Peterhead, correct, Peterhead.
That's where I trained Zach.
And that's a great area. Great area.
It was.
But I'm gonna tell you a funny story, and this just kind of clicked back. I don't know why I didn't tell you this up front, but so my first Sunday at the Springboy Ward in Easter House, I had a older lady by the name of Mary McCulloch. I'd given my testimony, as most new missionaries do, and she came up and she goes, "So, what part of Mississippi are you from?" And I'm like, northern Mississippi. And she goes, "No, what town are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm from Boonville." And she goes, "I'm just wondering if you know a lady." And I'm like, I'm 3,000 miles away here. and she goes, "Do you know a lady by the name of Fiona Howell?" And I'm like, "Well, she's been in my ward for, as long as I can remember." She goes, "Well, Fiona, it was either Fiona's parents or Fiona's grandparents. Well, they had been best friends. They lived in Australia, and so they would travel back and forth and visit with each other. And so she knew about Fiona Howell living in Boonville, Mississippi." So my first son, and I'm like,
small world.
Well, it just shows you how small the church is, but how big the church is. I mean, that you can travel that far and meet somebody your first Sunday at a church there that knows somebody in your home ward.
Yeah,
it's wild.
That is pretty crazy.
And we stayed in contact through letters really until she passed away. So she was an amazing person. So
yeah, it's awesome.
But there's some great stories. I mentioned a couple of them, coming through. Getting some stuff, playing bad taste game with some of the missionaries, eating stuff out of a fridge that probably should not have been eaten ever. Ever. From the members of the church over there. I had a family from Air, the Sharkies, that my grandmother sent her fried chicken recipe to her, and she made me this Southern fried chicken and cornbread and green beans with bacon in it. And
goodness,
wow.
So just to help me feel at home. Great people. I could, Sister McCulloch, and just meeting people there and learning about them, and there's such a difference of a way of life over there than it is here in the States. But if they were serious with you, I always felt they really didn't jihad with you too well. But when they were joking around with you and cutting up with you, or and that's the way most Scots are. They're always joking around and cutting up and having a good time, and they were just a fun people to be around, like all around, all the time. And then learning what you can wear in Glasgow into what parts of town, making sure your tie is not the wrong color, or that's it was a lot of fun. And the people, you never forget the people. I've been back over once since my mission and looking to go again. So very definitely.
Great.
That's cool.
Yeah, I spent a summer in Mississippi in Meridian when I was in school, and I found that my experience in Scotland helped me there because then I could understand everybody's accent just fine in Meridian, comparatively.
So you're about when you were there, you're about 3 to 3.5 hours south of me.
Yep. So then when I did grad school, I spent a summer in Memphis. So I got you covered on both sides, but
so you actually know where Tupelo's at.
a little bit.
I'm about an hour and a half southeast of Memphis, straight down 22.
Very nice.
So
I like that part of the world.
The southern people are a special breed.
Yep.
What I love them, but we're special.
So you served most of your time with the Wilkinsons as president.
I did.
Had any experiences with President Sister Wilkinson?
I think I learned more from President Wilkinson than I did from most people in my life. And the thing that I loved most about him is his ability to tear you down a little bit, humble you, and then build you back up and leave you feeling like you could conquer the world when you left his interview. But also making you understand that it's through the humility that you have that we're able to teach, and it's not through how amazing of a talker we are, a speaker we are, how much we know our scriptures. It was always teaching with humility, and just he preached love the people, serve the people, and you'll be successful as a missionary. And he always said, success is not baptisms. Success is planting a seed in their hearts, and you never know when things will happen.
And how about President Sister Vrains? Because they would have been there, I guess, 4 months or so before you left.
Yeah, they would have came in July.
Yeah.
So Sister Vrains made an instant impact in Zone Conference. She got up and started her talk, and she was talking about making sure we looked tidy and all that type of stuff. And she said, now I want to make sure that this is one of my big things, is I want to make sure everybody irons their pants. And of course, everybody laughed about it, and it took her a minute to catch on. Hey, they're trousers here. They're not pants. And so that was a lot of fun. But President Sister Vrains, I got to know him, a little bit on the, in the couple months. Definitely was. I did not have as close of a relationship with them as I did with President Wilkinson, but one of the things I really got from either of the mission presidents was President Wilkinson taught us for, I'm going to say, 7 straight zone conferences out of the Infinite Atonement. Tad Callister. I don't know if either of you have had a chance to read it. If you haven't, definitely do. But just, from both of them, you just knew that they had an enormous love for the missionaries and an enormous love for our Savior, and that was it showed in the way that they presided over us. It showed in the way that they wanted the best for all of us and wanted us to be not only successful as missionaries, but successful in our lives after our mission. Yeah. And I've always respected and loved both of them for it. So.
Well said. And we've heard several people mention how President Wilkinson went through that book as part of his own conferences and really had an impact on a lot of you. I mean, it's a fantastic book, but his testimony shared alongside it. Something everybody brings up.
He had such an amazing way of teaching. And if you never got to hear him speak or hear him teach, it was it's almost, and I'm not trying to, you hear these, the apostles and how they're so like commanding but gentle on the pulpit, and you just you can hear a pin drop in the room. That's the way it was with him. In the way that he taught and the way that he spoke, and he could, the inflection in his voice, he'd get a little bit louder, and then he'd calm down, and it's just smooth and soft and such a gentle voice that you could just listen to him speak all day long.
Love that. Well, having served in Hamilton, you must know the famous Winifred Terrett, right, Chad?
I love Winifred. Which I'm not sure. I haven't heard. I don't know whether she's still living or not.
She is. I've talked with her within the last probably month or so. She's been in and out of hospital, but she's still around.
Okay, but we were friends on Facebook for a while, and then something happened, and I'm not sure because I haven't heard from her in a long time. But oh yeah, she took us to the William Wallace Monument a couple times. Took us to, I want to say it was Balmoral Castle, which is cool.
I think so. Yeah.
Did that, and of course, we go over and visit with her, and I take it she still hasn't joined the church.
Not that I'm aware of at this point in time. However, she's still very friendly and kind with all of us that are members, for sure.
I always think, and I remember her telling me, and she goes, when I pass away, she goes, if I get up there and I find out the church is true, I will accept it that I was wrong. So, she was always an absolute joy to spend time with. And, we used to have some great, religious discussions, and she was a person that, had an open mind. You talk to so many people that just, when the religion comes up, it's, it's my way or the highway pretty much. And, she was very open. We actually had an opportunity to go to a Sunday night mass with her one time, spend time with her doing that. And she's always very, very appreciative that we would, and if I'm not mistaken, she came to church with us one time. So she would do that, but one of the kindest souls I think I've ever met. So very definitely.
Yeah, I agree. It's so funny the way that you reflected on her answer of why you haven't joined the church yet, because I could hear it coming out of her mouth, just the way that you said it. It was exactly that. So very funny. And those that are listening that know Winifred, I'm sure they probably heard the same thing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, she was is still a wonderful person. I'll have to see if I can get back in touch with her, say hello.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. Well, while you're up in Peterhead, did you ever visit the famous Slains Castle like many of us did? The old Dracula haunt on the coast in Cruden Bay?
I think that's one that we played Capture the Flag at, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
a well-known capture the flag spot for those of us in the Aberdeen zone.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that's the one that we used to play Capture the Flag on our P days. So a lot of fun, beautiful. I mean, you know, it's really just parts of a castle.
Yeah.
But you know, right there on the coast, it was beautiful, and as most of Scotland is.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Definitely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, any other missionaries you want to shout out, whether you served with them or not? Maybe you just served around them, but from your era, that's like we mentioned, that's before Zach and I's time. But we've had several people on, and we're always looking for more.
So obviously, my trainer, Jacob Jones, from right there from Utah, and you know, you've got a Chris Martin. Yeah, I've already had him on. He is probably the number one missionary that I've stayed in contact with for 20 years. We were him and Dustin Lance. I'm not sure if you had Elder Lance on from Arizona.
We haven't yet, but we'll certainly try.
He could tell you some stories. And then obviously Elder Jenkins, you know, we've had, and then my final companion was Elder Jeff Lowry. I want to say he was from Orem, maybe. I could be wrong. It's been a while. He excellent missionary. We both went home together, so it was a great last either 6 weeks or 3 months. I can't remember. And then just trying to think.
You've definitely named some great missionaries that we need to get in touch with for sure.
I mean, you know, you can go, you know, Elder Nephi Somerville. Definitely remember him. Oh, I don't know how I forgot this guy. Elder Trent Angel.
Trent Angel. Love it.
He was in. He was a little bit older missionary too, but one of the funniest guys. Had a laugh that could just brighten up a room. Amazing guy. He was in the other. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the other Easter house area.
Okay.
So he was amazing. But yeah, those are the missionaries that I really remember the most. And you know, all of them made an impact in one way or another in my life, and definitely have, you know, helped me be the person that I am today. And you know, whether it's, you know, teaching me or, you know, helping me grow, or, you know, lessons that we've learned from each other. So, you know, that's what a mission is about, and growing your testimony. So
Yeah,
agreed.
Definitely. Well, Chad, I mean, I got to say, just people who are listening, you've got to go on YouTube and look at this guy's beard. It's beautiful. It just is. So
no, I appreciate that.
it's been a pleasure visiting with you tonight. We'll we'll definitely start looking for those people you called out and try to get them on. We're always on the hunt, and we appreciate member referrals as well. So send them our way.
I will see if I can get in touch with some of them and let you know. I'll definitely let Dustin Lance know because I'm friends with him and his wife on Facebook, so I can definitely let him know. Send him an invite over.
Yep, and you can always send them to the website too, 51spylaw.com. Most people find that pretty easy to recall. Who served
51 Spylaw Road, Edinburgh,
Yep.
EH10 5BP, and don't ask me why I still know that.
That's incredible.
Because it was important.
I mean, I don't know why I know like the area code or the postal code, EH10 5BP. It just I've never forgotten it.
You wrote it enough times sending stuff to the office, probably, right?
No, not even really. I mean, I guess I just read it enough times, or I don't even know. So,
oh man, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, Chad, I just want to express to you our love for you. Thank you for being our brother in Scotland. We truly love you and are appreciative of you taking time to come on. And I have to give you props too, because since we've been friends on Facebook, you've been working your rear end off in that gym. So keep it up, brother.
Oh, it's been back in October, I tore my rotator cuff, so it set me back. I couldn't really do much, gained some weight, and as soon as I got released, it's been on. And so got a long way to go, but I'm getting there. So
I see your progress. I mean, every time I see it, you motivate me to get into the gym and get after it too. So thanks for keeping me accountable.
Hey, it's my therapy.
I love it.
So,
that's awesome.
But I appreciate y'all having me on. It's been a pleasure reminiscing and thinking about those good times again. I'm going to have to pull out my T-book and go back and reread some of that and reread some of the letters that I got from home and I've gotten from, members over the years. So definitely.
Yeah, that's part of this too, is just encouraging all of us to kind of dust off the cobwebs a little bit.
Well, I appreciate y'all doing this. This has been a pleasure.
No, we love it. Once you get that list of companions down pat, send us an email with all those and we'll reach out to those people just as well.
Oh, I sure will.
All right, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Love you, brother. Cheerio.
Love you too. All right, cheerio.
Bye.
Good night.